Hey everybody, I hope you're doing good. In today's quick tutorial, I just want to show you how I made an object follow the mouse using Spline. So the first thing that I did was I just came in here and I made some primitive shapes using this little plus sign right here. If I click that, you have access to all these different primitive shapes. And basically I just used a bunch of cubes and some spheres to create this little object right here. And if I look over on the left side, you can see that I've got a simple hierarchy over here. And basically I put the entire object inside of a group. That way I can control the whole object together. And I've also put into its own group these eyes right here. And these eyes are just some spheres. And you can see that in that group, I've got the white part of the eye is one sphere. And then as a child of that white part, I've got the pupil of the eye underneath. That way they all kind of follow each other as needed. And same thing for the left side here. I've got the white part of the eye and then the pupil. And I've got a cube for the hat, and that has a child. That's just the brim, which is just a plane, and then just the top of the hat right there. All right, so to animate this thing and to make the eyes move, basically what you have to do is just come over to your eye, and you can see that since this pupil's parented, as we turn this, it's going to just follow along, and that's basically what we want. And so I'm going to click on this eye right here, and to get any kind of animation, you have to come over here to the right side, and basically you create a state. And so if I click that plus sign, it gives me a state, and our base state is kind of like the default. And if I come over to the state that I just created, this is where we can make some kind of change if we want to have something happen. And states and events are tied together, and so what I can do is create a new event. And so this event is going to happen depending on how I set these parameters right here. So by default, it says, do we want this event to happen when we load up this on the browser? Basically, when we click the play button, it loads it into the browser. That is when this event is going to start. But for the eyes, what we want to do is I'm going to click this, and instead of start, I'm going to do, where is that? Follow. And so, look at. So what happens is this object that we're clicked on right here, that we have this event on, is going to look at the mouse as it moves around the screen. And so let's click play and just see what happens. So there we go. Right away, I'm looking at this in the browser, and it's following the mouse around, and it's actually working pretty good. There's this thing called distance in here, and I'm not 100% positive exactly how this works, but changing this changes how this eye will look. So if I turn it down to 0, it just completely disappears. And if I turn it up to, let's say 5,000, it moves much slower, and I can't even get it to move over here. So 1,000 is actually a pretty good number in there, and you can adjust that if you're having some weird issues there. But 1,000 seems to work actually pretty good there. And so let's do the same thing to our other eye. So I'm going to click on that sphere, create a state. There's our state right there. Make sure we're clicked on that, and we're going to click on an event. And we're going to change this from start to look at. We've got that at 1,000, and let's click play. So there we have it. So now our eyes are moving around the screen. They're tracking and following our mouse as we move it around. One other thing that I had in my animation was this object just kind of bouncing up and down slowly. And so the way that I did that is I came up to the full group right here. So we have this whole object, and I have a state created on there as well. So let's tie that to an event. So if I click the plus sign, and we want this event to happen at the start. So we want this just to happen as soon as it loads up, it starts going, and we want it to cycle through. So it continues to go and repeat. And we can keep this transition as ease in and ease out. You also have some different kinds of easing, linear, it's kind of a little bit more robotic. But that ease in and ease out is pretty good, just by a default. We can also change the duration. So let's see what that looks like right now. So there we go. So that's just going up and down kind of slowly. And let's say we want to change that so it's a little bit more happening there. I'm going to go to the base state. I'm just going to move this down a little closer to the ground. And then I'll go up to this other state and move this up a little higher. So basically it's just going to animate between these two states right here. And let's see what that looks like. There we go. So we can definitely see that happening. We also have our other state and event happening at the same time. And let's just stop that. Let's say we want to slow this down. We could turn this duration up a little bit more. So I'm just going to go up to 3. Let's see what that looks like. So now it's going to go over 3 seconds instead of 1 second, and it just slows it down. So yeah, whatever you feel like would be the best for your animation. And that's about it for this tutorial. Just wanted to show you that. I hope that was helpful to you, and I will see you next time.